It's May 2025 and I've headed to the east of France and the historic capital of Lorraine, though it looks like the Torii gates may have followed me from Japan. At the point where the Seine River flows into the Moselle, and today close to the tri-point junction of France, Germany and Luxembourg, the city of Metz has a rich cultural and architectural history linked to both of those junctions. Before its conquest by Julius Caesar in 52 BCE, the area was the oppidum, or large fortified Iron Age town, of the Mediamatrici Celtic tribe. Quickly integrated into the Roman Empire, Metz rose to become one of the principal towns in the Roman province of Gaul, with the population rising to around 40,000. Following the collapse of Rome and the barbarian raids across Europe, the city came under the control of the Franks by the end of the 5th century, and in the following centuries became the residence of the Merovingian kings of Austria. After the Treaty of Verdun in 843, the city became the capital of the Kingdom of Lotharingia, and through that was integrated into the Holy Roman Empire as a semi-independent state. Between the 12th and 15th century, the kingdom became the Republic of Metz, but its independence and lack of monarch ended in 1552 with the Treaty of Chambord, and the Republic became part of the Kingdom of France. Though, as the German princes who traded Metz for the promise of French military assistance did not actually have authority to cede territory of the Holy Roman Empire, the change of ownership wasn't recognised by the empire until the much more significant Treaty of Westphalia, that brought an end to the 30 Years' War, was signed nearly 100 years later in 1648. Under the French, Metz was improved as a strategic fortified town, and as part of the creation of départements in 1789, was chosen to become the capital of a new département of Moselle. However, less than 100 years later, in 1871, along with much of the rest of the territory of Alsace-Lorraine, the city became part of the German Empire following the Franco-Prussian War. Its second German period didn't even get to 50 years, with the city and the wider Alsace-Lorraine region being returned to France following the First World War. Ping-pong ownership resumed, with the city being annexed by the invading Nazis in the summer of 1940. From late September until mid-December 1944, the US Third Army fought the Battle of Metz, with strong German resistance inflicting heavy casualties on both sides before the Americans were able to bring the battle to its end, with the capture of the city on the 22nd November and the last of the surrounding forts surrendering on the 13th of December. During the 1950s, Metz was chosen to also become the capital of the newly created Lorraine region, which lasted until the merger into the newly created Grand Est region in 2015. Due to its geographical location, the city has also become the centre of the multinational Saarlor-Lux Euro region, now called the Greater Region, spanning Lorraine in France, Saarland in Germany and the country of Luxembourg, as well as far out as the rest of Grand Est region, Wallonia in Belgium and Rhineland-Pfalz in Germany. Those fortifications that once defined the city have been largely swept away, with just a handful of reminders in the city centre. The Porte Serpenoise, or Serpentine Gate, located to the south of the historic heart of the city, being one of the few reminders. A gate on this site has served as the southern limit of the city from the construction of the Roman ramparts in the 3rd century until the city's final expansion beyond the city walls at the start of the 20th century. The slow removal of fortifications in the city also helped create several of the city's green spaces, including the Jardin de l'Esplanade, which was set out following the deconstruction of the citadel, with its former moats being filled in to create the land for the garden. Initial construction was largely completed by 1816. In 1861, the World's Fair took place in the city, with many of the exhibitions being placed on the esplanade. The gardens were remodelled in 1967 following the conversion of the neighbouring Place de la République into a car park, a move which was reversed at the start of the 21st century when an underground car park installed to turn the square to a public space. The symbol of the city is Graoully, a creature of the appearance of a dragon who, according to legend, lived in the arena of a Roman amphitheatre. Graoully would terrorise the city and its citizens, sweeping in and devouring several at a time before returning to its lair. The city's saviour came in the form of Clement, sent by Pope Peter to Metz in the 1st century to convert the city to Christendom. In exchange for their conversion, Clement tamed Graoully before taking him to the Selle River and, depending on the PG or non-PG version of the story, banishing him or drowning him there. As a further gesture of their gratitude, the city immediately made Clement the first Bishop of Metz. The dragon symbol pops up all over the city, from its sport team's badges to the giant model of a dragon flying above Rue Taison. The modern Graoully is an electrically powered boat that takes passengers on cruises along parts of the Moselle in and around the city centre. The confluence of the Moselle and Selle rivers also lines up with a number of channels and islands in the Moselle that helped make Metz such a good location to build a city, and the hour-long tour I booked onto takes a route that weaves around some of those channels, both natural and man-made. After departing from close to the cathedral, the tour initially heads upstream and around the edge of the Plan d'Eau before taking the Saulcy branch channel that runs past the university campus. Including some local fauna. And then out onto the main channel of the Moselle that runs to the north of the main city centre. Before turning into another side channel under the A31 motorway and back in towards the city centre along a channel, the Moselle branch, that runs parallel to the Canal de Jouy. All this time, the tour has in effect been circling the large Ile Sainte-Séphorienne. At the northern edge of the island is the man-made Metz Lake, or Plan d'Eau, created in the 1970s in part by the works to build the motorway. The boat goes for a quick lap of the lake before returning back to the centre of the city. Passing the starting point, the tour of the boat continues under the Moyen Pont and into the area in front of the Temple Neuf, before passing back under the Moyen Pont and mooring up again. Up until the 19th century, the Ile Saint-Symphorien was a semi-marshy area formed by the confluence of the two branches of the Moselle. Busy with ships heading into the city centre and directly under the medieval rampart, the area served as a defensive zone for more than 500 years. From the 19th century onwards, in part from the construction of the Jouy Canal and the running down of the citadel and fortifications, the area became an area for relaxation and walking, and under German rule, plans were considered for the development of the area into a park. With the construction of the A31 motorway in the 1960s, large amounts of earth needed to be removed from the island, which caused the waters of the Moselle to flood in, creating the lake and reforming the island, which was turned into a leisure and recreation area, opening in 1974. The main features of the Plan d'Eau today include a jet d'eau in the centre and the Japanese Torii gate positioned to a perfectly framed cathedral within its shape when viewed from the southwestern corner of the lake. The Canal de Jouy is an 8-kilometre long canal that runs from the town of Ars-sur-Moselle to the centre of Metz, where it re-enters the Moselle via 2 locks. Construction of the canal began in 1867 as part of the modernisation of the river infrastructure of northeastern France. In Metz, the canal ends under the fortifications and ramparts of the city centre, which led to complications following its completion, as the military role of the site didn't allow for construction of permanent buildings inside the area, and consequently, the lock-keeper's cottage is a half-timbered house, which would allow for rapid deconstruction of a building should the need to remove it occur. About a kilometre back up the canal in the neighbouring settlement of Montigny-les-Metz is the city's botanical gardens, the Jardin botanique de Metz. Previously the Parc Frescatelli, the 4.4 hectare landscape park, was purchased by the city of Metz in 1866. Originally built as the summer residence of Philippe d'Aubetin de Bionville in 1719 and described as a vast plot of land enclosed by a gate with a villa in the centre, a park in the front and the gardens at the back, the park passed through various notable residents of the city before the council brought it to centralise botanical collections, botanical school and the learned societies of natural history and horticulture. Following purchase by the city, the site was transformed into a new park, integrating the botanical gardens into an English-style pleasure garden. The site is also a great example of upcycling, with the greenhouses previously having served duty for the 1861 World's Fair up on the Esplanade, before being transferred here in advance of the park's opening in 1867. Next time I explore more of the city, including its cathedral, remaining fortifications, and mega museum.